All right, welcome back to the second part of our first lesson in our mini-series entitled There's an App for That. We're talking tonight about unhealthy fear. And I believe that many people experience this emotion along with other negative emotions or unhealthy emotions, especially during the Christmas holiday season. And so ultimately, we're going to get to some biblical apps that will help us to deal with unhealthy fear. President Franklin Roosevelt once said, "The only thing we have to fear is fear itself." And I think that he was right. I believe that the fear of fear probably causes more problems in our lives than fear itself. The fear of fear causes more problems in our lives than fear itself. Let's unpack that a little bit. Fear, in the opinion of some, has gotten a bad rap among most human beings. And it's not nearly as complicated as we sometimes make it, in my opinion. A simple and useful definition of fear is an anxious feeling caused by our anticipation of some imagined event or experience. An anxious feeling caused by our anticipation of some imagined event or experience. Medical experts tell us that the anxious feeling we get when we're afraid is a standardized biological reaction. It's pretty much the same set of body signals at work, whether we're afraid of getting bitten by a dog or whether we're afraid of getting turned down for a date. We've all experienced that, yeah? A time or two. Or whether we fear being audited on our taxes. And you talking about a fear for you. Fear, like all other emotions, is basically information. Fear, like all other emotions, is basically information. What do you mean? Well, it's information because fear offers us knowledge and understanding of our psychobiological status. When we're fearful, it involves our mind, our emotions, and even our biological bodies. But fear offers us information. It offers us knowledge and understanding of our psychobiological status. In other words, where am I mentally? Where am I emotionally? Where am I physically? How is all of these things tying in to create this feeling of fear? So fear can give us information if we allow it to do so. All right? And I had announced we were going to talk about hierarchy or feararchy. Well, there are 5 basic fears out of which almost all of our other so-called fears are manufactured. There are 5 basic fears out of which almost all of our other so-called fears are manufactured. What are these fears? Number 1, we fear extinction. Extinction. Like the dinosaurs went extinct millions of years ago, we fear extinction of our existence. It's a fear of annihilation or of ceasing to exist. This is a more fundamental way to express it than just saying there's a fear of death. Because with a lot of Christians, they say, no, I don't fear no death. What are you talking about? It's in the Bible. I'm going to heaven. I've confessed with my mouth and believed in my heart that Jesus is Lord and I've lived right. So no, I don't fear death. And so another way of getting to the heart of the matter is the fear of ceasing to exist. The idea of no longer being around or no longer being here arouses a primary existential anxiety. Man, I can't pronounce any words tonight. Arouses a primary existential anxiety. In other words, a basic human anxiety. Existential anxiety. Can't put our finger on it, can't put our hand on it, but it's a basic anxiety that human beings fear. All right? This notion of I'm gonna cease to exist, or this person could cause me to cease to exist, or this problem could somehow reduce me in a way that it would be akin to ceasing to exist. And this existential fear or anxiety, it's present in all normal human beings. At least that's my belief and the belief of some other scholars. The next type of fear that is major, and it is one of the top 5 out of which all of our other fears perhaps emanate, and that is the fear of mutilation, which is the fear of losing any part of our body structures. The thought of having our body's boundaries invaded, or of losing the integrity of any organ, body part, or natural function. Got the hiccup. Sorry about that, you all. Again, mutilation is the fear of losing any part of our precious bodily structure, or the thought of having our body's boundaries invaded, or of losing the integrity of an organ, a body part, or natural function. That scares us, right? That scares us. That we would somehow lose an arm, or a leg, or a foot, or a finger, or an eye. That scares us. We're scared of experiencing mutilation, and that's one form of mutilation. Next type of form of mutilation that brings us fear, again, is the thought of having our bodies invaded. So being raped or taken advantage of bodily in that type of way, that's a real fear that causes anxiety. Another real fear that emanates from this fear of mutilation and causes us anxiety is the fear of losing the integrity of an organ. I might not lose my eyes, but I go blind. I might not lose my leg or foot, but I become paralyzed and can't move my legs or my feet. Or somehow I become incontinent and I can't even go to the bathroom without some assistance, or I cannot control my bodily function. That's a real fear for a lot of people. And it's called the fear of mutilation. And this fear causes some major anxiety. One more, and then we're going to take a quick break. The next fear that we have, number 3 on the list of the top 5, is the loss of autonomy, which is the fear of being immobilized, paralyzed, restricted, enveloped, overwhelmed, entrapped, imprisoned, smothered, or otherwise controlled by circumstances beyond our control. We fear the loss of autonomy, the loss of being able to make my own decisions, do what I want to do, go where I want to go. All of that is wrapped up in what we call fear of the loss of autonomy. And let me go through this list again. It manifests itself in the fear of being immobilized, the fear of being paralyzed, restricted, enveloped, overwhelmed. I mean, there's somebody who's looking at this video right now who's been feeling overwhelmed for the last several weeks, months, might even for the last couple of years. That feeling of, somehow this thing is beyond my control and ultimately it's going to take me out. I'm holding on right now, but I'm feeling overwhelmed. Every moment I feel I'm about to lose it. Somebody knows what I'm talking about. That's wrapped up with this fear of the loss of autonomy. Also, it manifests itself in a fear of being entrapped or imprisoned, held beyond or held against my will. Being smothered, or again, otherwise being controlled by circumstances beyond our control. As humans, we want to be in control of our destiny, of our lives, of the things that we want to do or not. In physical form, this fear of the loss of autonomy often manifests itself as claustrophobia. The walls are closing in on me. There's too many people around me. I can't breathe. I'm about to pass out. All right. Also, it extends to our social interactions and relationships, because if I'm feeling overwhelmed, people who love me and interact with me, they're going to pick up on that. If I have a fear of small spaces or being around a lot of people, that certainly is going to affect my social interactions with others. And again, we're going to get to how the Bible addresses this through some biblical apps, but I want to give us an understanding of how fear manifests itself in our lives, especially with many people during the Christmas season. Let's take a quick break, and then we'll go through number 4 and 5 on our list of 5 basic fears from which all other fears emanate. Be right back.